Make sure your project directory is set to a folder called LipSync. Click OK, go to File and load a scene from the Scenes folder called LipSync.fxs. I've created a model face here and rigged it and added expressions and all that other fun stuff. The key thing that I've done is I've reduced all of that complexity down to really simple animation controls. In this case, 5 blend shapes. The advantages to working with sliders is that if you set a keyframe for one slider, they get set for the rest of them too, especially if your channel edit is set to all. So let's do a little bit of lip sync. Go into the Play tab and under Wave Audio, load an audio file. In this case, it's in the Scene folder called Time to Go. You can see that it shows up in the graph editor. Click on Locate Length, and if you haven't activated it yet, activate Scrub Audio, so when you scrub through the animation frame at a time, you can hear each sound bite. Just click into the Animate tab, and we'll just drag the view clear off. You can move the slider anywhere you want. It's best to move it where you can see the sliders and still maintain your view of the character. Once you have your sound file loaded, play through it a couple of times and try to figure out what mouth shapes that the character is making. It's really helpful to have a mirror in front of your desk doing this too.
It's weird. Okay, it's time to go. It's weird. Okay, it's time to go.
We can go back in and test our different blend shapes. You can see when I scrub through, I can hear each sound bite. So we'll start by picking out the closed mouth shapes. I find it's faster if you make every closed mouth shape in the sentence an extreme, and every open mouth shape a passing position. So scrub through slowly and listen for each phoneme. Right now that looks like a S sound. She starts out with I, so we'll leave that alone for now. Right where S comes in, we'll punch up the sneer. We'll highlight Ah. You can actually move the ah in a negative direction to close her mouth. Even move a little E in there. Move the sneer down a little. The sound is a closed mouth sound, and it kind of looks the same as the sneer. So we'll just click Create and drop in a keyframe exactly the same. It is an open sound, but it's, the closed part of it's, is a closed sound. Surprisingly enough, it's exactly the same. So punch Create. You can see the W sound is a closed mouth sound. So we'll zero out these other sliders and put the W at the beginning. See, we're going off screen, so let's scale the graph to fit the view. Where the ear is an open mouth shape, so we'll leave that alone. Erd is not. Surprisingly enough, it looks exactly like that. So click Create. And it's kind of an E shape. So we'll remove U and keep back to the E. And grab Ah and drag it a little bit negative to close her up. You can hear her inhale. It's a good time to drag everything back to the relaxed default position. Keep Ah still in the negative. You can hear her open her mouth before she says OK. So right here, before she starts making any movement, let's create a keyframe. So we have a hold going between these two. O, the Ah is the open sound, but the O in the O is a closed mouth sound. So we'll bring O up, remove everything. And E, the K is an open mouth sound, but the last part of it, the E, K, is the closed mouth. So we'll drop that one in. It's. Bring up sneer. Drag Ah in a negative position so she closes her mouth a little. We'll leave E slightly less. And the sound. So we'll zero everything out. Go back to Ah and drag it in a negative position so she closes her mouth. T is an open mouth sound. G is not, and it has a kind of E shape to it. So go back to Ah, negative it a bit so her mouth is closed. It's got a G. You can even add a little bit of sneer to that. G is an open mouth sound, but the ooh is not. So we'll add the ooh sound in and zero everything else out. So now we have all of our extremes put in. We can play through it once.
It's weird. Okay, it's time to go.
So it looks like she's talking through her teeth.
Yeah.
So now we just go back in and play with the ah slider. So open up ah a little here. Yeah is slightly open.
It's weird.
We is an open mouth sound. We can even cushion the ooh by dragging the ooh back a little. She opens her mouth just slightly. And before he says the okay, she prepares to say the O by opening her mouth. Ah. Even drag the ooh a bit back to cushion.
Okay.
K. It's an ah sound.
Okay.
It's
Time
ta.
to
To.
go.
And then ah. Go. We'll play through that and see how we did.
It's weird. Okay, it's time to go. It's weird. Okay, it's time to go.
So if you need to retime any of these, just highlight the keyframe in the graph and right-click to move it along the time. You can even drag the values up and down if it's too much. And that ooh is a little out of place, so we'll just punch in an E.
It's weird.
We'll close the mouth down on one of the holds, so you can keep your mouth moving a bit. The ah sound goes a little negative to close it. Okay, needs a little bit of E sound and less ooh.
Okay, it's
Time. Let's drop down the E a bit. Get rid of the ooh and the snare. We can even drag these values negative in the graph. Needs to happen earlier, so we'll drag it back one frame. To. Take the E out of it a little and part of the snare.
to go.
Go. You can remove the E. Even drag it negative.
Go.
And go. So we'll play through again.
It's weird. Okay, it's time to go. It's weird. Okay, it's time to go.
Generally, it's easier to make your keyframe pose a couple of frames before the sound actually happens. It gives your brain some time to recognize the sound when it's playing back full speed, even though you're trying to match up the sound to the sound file that's sitting right in front of you.
Okay.
Just keep that in mind.
Okay, it's time to go.
Go to File. Let's open up this again. We're going to save this scene as LipsyncA.fxs.